So what I have to talk about are raw and compliance. And so I'm going to start with raw. Raw is essentially the resistance that is created in the airway. And everybody has at least a little bit of resistance, but on ventilators, it's increased. You have a tube or a trachea that is pushing air through the airway, so that can be increased. To see raw, it is you take the measurement of your PIP, which is your peak inspiratory pressure, and it's the difference between that and a plateau pressure hold. And the plateau is basically the pressure needed to keep the lungs inflated and the alveoli open. And so you take that difference, and if that difference especially becomes more than like a measurement of 10, you would have an increase in raw. An example of this could be if a patient, let's say they're having asthma, they come in with an exacerbation, their throat is kind of closing or the bronchioles are inflamed, you would give them a bronchodilator like albuterol to decrease the raw. So that would be an example of increased raw, and you would decrease it. And again, you measure that by the difference between the PIP and the plateau. So then with compliance is the ease at which you can distend something. The opposite of it is elastance, so the ease that it takes for something to recoil. And so with compliance, you would look at thinking, how easy is it for the alveoli to distend? And some things that have high compliance or an ease of compliance are your obstructive diseases, such as COPD, emphysema. Those are some of the easier ones. On the opposite side, if it has a low compliance, or it's really hard or it's stiff for those alveoli to open, an example would be more restrictive diseases, such as pleural effusion or pneumonia. And so you would measure that by taking the tidal volume over your plateau minus your PEEP. And PEEP is basically the pressure that you exhale to. That's that pressure. And so depending on the condition, whether it's obstructive or restrictive, is how you would treat that. But you look at their compliance to get an idea of what's going on with their alveoli, whether it's easy for it to open or whether it's hard for it to open. And that can give you an idea of how to treat the condition.